My worst day in the Vietnam War didn't start any different than most of the others. We got out early like we always did. What we didn't know is that this day would be much different. We were walking right into a carefully planned trap. A Vietcong tactic I had never seen before, but I would never be able to forget it. I got to Vietnam in late 1967, and by that point I'd already figured out that nothing really worked the way you thought it would. You could plan something out, brief it clean, lay it out on the map, but once you stepped off, it didn't take long before things started going sideways. We were operating out near a Marine airstrip, running patrols to keep the area clear so they wouldn't take rockets and mortar fire at night, and it was steady work. We would make contact probably 50% of the time. You learn to watch the ground, where you step, where you stop, what looks right and what doesn't. Trails, edges, anything that looks too easy, you pay attention to it. Booby traps were everywhere, and sometimes the ground itself wasn't what it looked like. They could be in it. Not trenches you could see. Holes, covered over, camouflaged so well you'd walk right past and never know they were there. And this time, they let us walk right over them. This particular day started out normal enough. We were dropped in, and it was already hot. That kind of heat that just sits on you and slows everything down. Gear felt heavier, movement felt slower, and you had to stay on yourself to keep focused. I had a good squad with me, men who knew what they were doing, men I trusted. We were moving in a loose formation, watching the tree line ahead and the ground under us at the same time. And I remember thinking something didn't feel right, not something I could explain. Just quiet in a way that didn't make sense. A feeling in your gut. We kept moving anyway. You can't stop a patrol because of a bad feeling. We crossed a stretch of open ground, and I didn't like it. No cover, nowhere to go if something started, but you can't stay exposed either. So we pushed across and moved toward a tree line on the far side. And the moment we hit that tree line, they opened up on us. Automatic fire came in from off to the right side, hard and close. You could hear rounds snapping past before your mind even caught up to it. 2 men went down almost immediately. 1 dropped, and I remember the other was still moving. We returned fire and spread out. I pushed part of the squad left, trying to get a better angle. The fire was steady, no let-up. It was coming from prepared positions. They had us right where they wanted us. And then something didn't make sense. Rounds started coming in from behind us. At first it didn't register. We had just walked through that area. And then it hit me. They had let us pass right over them. They must have stayed down, covered, and waited for us to move through. And once we were far enough in, they came up behind us. They had us from 2 sides. That's when you realize you've walked right into a kill zone. Not just contact, an L-shaped ambush, and not one you can just pull back out of. I remember moving forward a few yards with 2 other soldiers, trying to break toward one side of it, and rounds came in so close I could hear them crack past both sides of my head. One of the men next to me dropped. We were really in deep. We were trapped and taking casualties. But there wasn't time to stop and check. I got on the radio and called for artillery. and we started walking rounds in, bringing it closer to their positions. White phosphorus, air bursts, whatever we could get. It was danger close. Close enough that we were catching fragments ourselves, hearing it come down around us, but it broke up their fire enough to give us room to move. We started shifting in short bursts, a few men at a time, trying to push out of it, trying to break the shape of the ambush before it closed in completely. Because if you stay inside it, you may never get out. It didn't turn fast, but slowly their fire started to lose shape. It was more sporadic, and then it eased up, not all at once. But we knew they were pulling back. After it all quieted down, that's when it settles in. You look around. You got men on the ground. Some are calling out, some not saying anything at all. The corpsman moving between them, doing what he could. Some were still moving, and some weren't.
He's going to have to refuel, so he'll be breaking station shortly. I just want you to check with Bravo and see if he can put an adjustment on this artillery that we got programmed to go down here where we took that AK-47 fire over.
We stayed there longer than I wanted to. You don't just walk away from something like that. You secure it, report it, account for your men. We moved the dead and wounded back to the clearing and called in choppers to get them out. When the choppers come in, the wounded get priority, and if there is room, the dead can go too. Otherwise, they wait for a second or third trip. When the birds lift out, it gets quiet again. You stand there for a few moments as the gravity of what just happened sinks in. And then you need to go back to what still needs to be done. Because even after that, you regroup your men and the mission continues. This patrol is one of hundreds like it taking place all over South Vietnam every day, involving thousands of courageous young American soldiers fighting for the man next to them and counting the days till they can go home.